In accordance with the State Sunshine Law of New Jersey, adequate notice of this meeting of the Hillsborough Township Board of Education was provided on March 8, 2012 to the Hillsborough Beacon and the Courier News. Can I have a roll call, Mr. Mahmood?
Sure. Ms. Bogoshevsky. Mr. Gillette. Mrs. Haas.
Here.
Mrs. Haley. Mr. Kintz. Here. Mrs. Lay. Mr. Pulsifer. Here. Mr. Rosenberg. Here. Mr. Paget.
Here. And this short meeting is here for the executive session. So I'm going to read the motion, and then I'll take a motion to that effect, and then we'll vote. Thank you. Whereas the Open Public Meeting Act, Chapter 231 of the laws of 1975 provides that a public body may exclude the public from that portion of a meeting of which the public body discusses certain matters for which confidentiality is required as permitted in Section 7B of the Act. Resolved by the Board of Education of the Township of Hillsborough in the County of Somerset in the State of New Jersey as follows. The following matters to be discussed are student disciplinary matters related to harassment, intimidation, and bullying, and an employee grievance. The matters discussed in the executive session shall be disclosed to the public when the need for confidentiality no longer exists. I will take a motion to that effect.
So moved.
Thank you. And a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed and abstentions. We are in executive session, and we'll see you guys in about a half an hour. Back in public session. Are we on? Is my microphone on now? We're back in public session. I need a roll call, Mr. Mahmood.
Surely. Ms. Bogoshevsky. Mr. Gillette. Here. Mrs. Haas.
Here.
Mrs. Haley.
Here.
Mr. Kintz. Here. Mrs. Lay.
Here.
Mr. Pulsifer. Here. Mr. Rosenberg. Here. Mr. Paget.
Here. All right. For the audience that is here, thank you for coming. We are going to close that closed session meeting and then open the regular scheduled meeting. So there's going to be a little process that's going to go on, but we're just going to keep on meeting. I will take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed and abstentions? We are closing that meeting, and we're moving on to our regular scheduled 7:30 p.m. meeting. In accordance with the State Sunshine Law of New Jersey, adequate notice of this meeting of the Hillsborough Township Board of Education was provided on March 8, 2012 to the Hillsborough Beacon and the Courier News. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And believe it or not, we need another roll call, Mr. Mahmood.
Ms. Bogoshevsky. Mr. Gillette.
Present.
Mrs. Haas.
Here.
Mrs. Haley.
Here.
Mr. Kintz. Here. Mrs. Lay.
Here.
Mr. Pulsifer. Here. Mr. Rosenberg.
Still here.
And Mr. Paget.
Here. All right, we had one correspondence listed in the agenda, and we're going to move right on to the superintendent's report. Dr. Schiff?
Thank you, Mr. President. It's so great to see so many students and parents out here tonight as a part of our Spotlight on Students, showcasing all the great work that our kids are doing throughout the district. Tonight we have students from Aris Intermediate School here tonight to talk about their character club. So with that, I'd like to introduce the principal of Aris, Mr. Chris Carey.
Good evening. Thank you, Dr. Schiff, President Paget, members of the Board of Ed and administration. I'm thrilled and honored to be able to present tonight our Character Counts Club. And it's an honor to be able to shine this spotlight on some great things that we're doing, so many good things at Alton Road. So I wanted to take an opportunity to talk about a group who has really embraced our motto of creating a positive school climate through positive school and student interactions. So in just a moment, I'm going to introduce their advisor, and all the students will show you a little video clip, and they'll be doing a little skit for you. But just a little background about the Character Counts Club. Throughout the year, they're involved in a variety of activities. Starting at the beginning of the year, we have something called Mix It Up at Lunch Day. We also have a Week of Respect. Don't stress the test that comes around when New Jersey Ask comes around. Multicultural Awareness Week coming up. They'll be focusing on some activities there. And another example of some things that, from year to year, there may be a need. Last year, actually this week, last year, we had the tragic tsunami hit in Japan, and they helped form a fundraiser to raise funds for those who were devastated by that in Japan. So we're excited to have them here to present a little bit of what they do. And before I forget, I want to thank their families, their parents and guardians for coming in support, drive them in the last few mornings to get them prepared for today's skit. So we'll get right into that. And I also want to make sure I thank Mrs. Smith, our vice principal, who works with Mrs. Cleveland, the character counts advisor. Mrs. Cleveland, I'll introduce her in a second, for helping to put together what they're going to focus on today, which is information about No Name Calling Week. A few weeks back, we had an activity that focused on no name calling. Mrs. Cleveland will talk a little bit more details about that. So without any further delay, I'm going to hand this off to Mrs. Cleveland, the character counts advisor.
Thank you, Mr. Carey. These are the students in the Character Counts Club. I'm going to introduce them in a moment. The Character Counts Club students are known for modeling the 6 pillars of character: trustworthiness, respect, responsibility, fairness, caring, and citizenship. They are always willing to lend a hand to a classmate, teacher, or anyone in need. I'd like to take a moment to introduce our guests of honor tonight. We have 6th graders, Lily Chang, Jacob Ford, and this is Jacob's 2nd year in the club, Andrea Huffman, Anthony Jacoboski, Samantha Sarah, and Stephen Soley. We have 5th graders, Kirthana Akula, Ria Anand, Naya Jardine, Sasmita Prabhu, Isabella Rauter, Haley Sheldon, and Adriana Yacarino. These are the students.
If I could just interrupt for a moment, maybe it may be easier if the board actually has a seat in the green chairs, because I think that the skit is going to be this way. So my friends on the board, we may want to just go on the other side. Thank you.
Tonight you are going to see just one example of an activity that the Character Counts Club coordinated called No Name Calling Week. Aris celebrated it during the week of February 13th through 17th. To kick off this special activity during advisory sessions on February 10th, students throughout Alton Road were treated to a video preview of No Name Calling Week events featuring peers from the Character Counts Club. Throughout the week of February 13th, students were encouraged to stand up for others and avoid name calling while demonstrating all 6 pillars of character. The Character Counts Club students were responsible for the daily announcements that week describing the events and announcing the daily winners of the Character Counts Cookie Contest. To explain more about No Name Calling Week, we would like to show you the video featuring the Character Counts Club students.
Good morning, everyone. Monday is the first day of No Name Calling Week. During this week, everyone is encouraged to make an extra special effort to refrain from making any comments to others that might be less than sensitive. In addition, we encourage everyone to make a concerted effort to look at our friends, classmates, teachers, and other staff with a kind eye and share any positive comments with the special people in our lives.
During No Name Calling Week, the Character Counts Club asks that everyone focus on demonstrating the behavior that reflects the pillars of character: trustworthiness, respect, responsibility, fairness, caring, and citizenship. We ask that everyone makes an extra effort to demonstrate these qualities. For example, we can demonstrate respect by using good manners, like saying please and thank you. Mrs. Cleveland, might I please have a pass to class?
Absolutely, Adriana.
Thank you.
In addition, if you are observed exhibiting good character traits, any adult in the building may give you a special Aris character cookie, acknowledging your good deeds. If you get one, just fill out the back of the cookie, bring it to lunch, and place it in the cookie jar with your homeroom teacher's name on it. A winner will be chosen for lunch every day. And what do the winners get? They get one of these special character cookie coupons, good for your choice of either 2 free cookies from the cafeteria or $1 to use at the school store. On Monday, we'll announce a winner during each lunch. but the rest of the week we'll announce the winners during the morning announcements.
While you're meeting in your advisory groups this morning, take some time to brainstorm examples of each pillar of character. Share what pillars of character are easy for you to demonstrate and those that you'd like to leave over the coming week. We are all good people and need to keep trying to do our best. Together we can help each other stand strong. Have a great No Name Calling Week and earn those cookies!
Mrs. Smith was the director for that great video, so thank you for your help. The Character Counts Club is excited to perform a skit demonstrating how No Name Calling Week went at Aris.
Andrea is sitting on the curb alone during outdoor recess. She is a new student at Otten Road Intermediate School. Today is her first day of school. She's thinking about her day.
My morning classes went well. The teachers seemed really great, but I wish I knew some of the games these kids were playing. We didn't have recess at my old school, and I don't know how to learn the rules or get in the game.
Adriana looks down and appears upset. She occasionally looks up at the students playing at recess.
Hey, Naya, pass the ball over here.
Okay, Lily.
Here, Bella.
Thanks, Lily.
Hey, have you ever seen her before? I think she's new here. Isn't her name Adriana?
Yeah, I think she's in my math class.
She looks kind of sad.
Remember when I was new last year and you guys were so nice to me? I felt really welcome. Why don't we invite her to play with us?
Yeah. Lily, Naya, and Bella walk over to Adriana.
Hi. My name's Lily, and this is Naya and Bella.
Hi. Hello.
Hi, I'm Adriana.
We were wondering if you would like to come play a game with us.
Well, I want to, but I don't really know that game.
Don't worry, we'll teach you.
Thanks, I wanted to learn.
Adriana joins Lily, Naya, and Bella playing the game. Meanwhile, two students, Jacob and Rhea, were observing what took place.
Rhea, did you see Lily, Naya, and Bella invite the new girls to come play with them?
Yeah, that was really caring of them. Hey, isn't caring one of the pillars of character they were talking about on the morning announcement?
Yes, and this week is No Name Calling Week. If students are observed demonstrating good character, they can earn a character cookie that they can put in the cookie jar in the cafeteria. If the cookie is pulled out in a drawing each day, and they get a character cookie.
That's right. The character cookie coupon is good for your choice of either 2 free cookies from the cafeteria or $1 to use at our school store. I think we should tell the lunch aides what we saw. Those students should be recognized for their good deeds.
Jacob and Rhea walk over to the lunch aides.
Hi, Miss Kurthana and Miss Haley. Can we talk to you?
Hi, Jacob and Rhea.
Of course, how can we help you? This week is No Name Calling Week, and we noticed Lily, Naya, and Bella demonstrating the character trait caring when they asked the new students to come play with them.
We thought that their good deeds should be recognized, and we were wondering if you could do that and give them one of the character cookies that on-road staff members are giving students this week when they see them exhibiting good character.
Thank you for telling us about this. We thought we saw them talking to Adriana.
Yes, now we see them all playing together. We certainly will give them character cookies.
As the students line up for recess, the lunch aides wait for Lily, Naya, and Bella to come over to them. They hand each of them a character cookie.
There are 6 pillars of character: trustworthiness, respect, responsibility, fairness, citizenship, and care. The 3 of you were observed demonstrating caring when you invited a student to join you in a game at recess.
Yep. Here are some character cookies to demonstrate that we recognize your good deeds. Don't forget to put them in the cookie jar at lunch.
Thanks, Ms. Kirthana and Ms. Haley.
Welcome.
The students enter the cafeteria and place their cookie in the cookie jar that Vice Principal Samantha and Counselor Andrea are holding.
Honored students, you are all doing a fabulous job demonstrating all the pillars of character this week. All of your teachers, fellow classmates, and I are so proud of you for all your good deeds.
And now it's time for today's Character Counts cookie drawing. And the winner is Bella.
All of you are demonstrating great character right now as you cheer on your classmate.
That's right, Miss Samantha. Let's do all that we can to take care of our school and everyone in it.
The During the week of February 13th through 17th, Aris students celebrated No Name Calling Week by making an extra effort to demonstrate the 6 pillars of character in their everyday actions.
Hundreds of cookies were earned throughout the week, and students showed even more great character as they selflessly cheered for their peers who won character cookie coupons. The students at Aris showed admirable character each and every day.
Good job, Character Counts Club. This evening you saw just one example of an activity in which the students in the Character Counts Club worked very hard to improve the morale of Aris and help bring the pillars of character to the forefront of our everyday life. I cannot begin to convey how much I rely on these boys and girls to help build character and maintain the positive climate we have at Orton Road. They are critical to the success of so many programs here at Aris, and our school and community is a better place because of these students and the work that they do.
And I just wanted to say just a few thank yous again. Once again, thank you to Mrs. Cleveland and all the boys and girls. Have one more round of applause for our Character Counts group. Great job, guys. Also, another thank you again to our parents. We thank you for your support. They wouldn't be able to be here unless you drove them, so we thank you for that very much. And Dr. Schiff, thank you for the opportunity to focus a spotlight on our kids. Just one of the many great things we do at Orton Road. Fantastic job, everyone. And last but not least, we have a very special presentation for the 2 gentlemen in the middle, Dr. Schiff and President Paget. We have Character Counts t-shirts we'd like to present each of you. Here they come. The students are going to be coming up right now. And we'll be taking orders for anybody else who would like one. We're sorry we couldn't provide.
Thank you, Mr. Carey. Wonderful job, kids. Thank you, parents, for coming out this evening. I just asked the board that we take a brief 5-minute recess.
Yes, please.
Thank you. We're in recess.
We are back in session. Dr. Schiff is going to continue.
Thank you. Yes, I have a few pieces of good news I'd like to share with the board and the public. I'm pleased to announce that on March 4th, 5 middle school students participated in the Central Jersey Music Educators Associated Intermediate Orchestra and Band Concert at Monroe Middle School. 7th graders Joyce Liu and Emily Duque participated in the intermediate orchestra. Emily played horns and Joyce played the violin. Joyce also had this distinction of being concertmaster. 3 students participated in an intermediate band. 7th grader Jack Kins played the oboe, and 8th grader Megan Zerold played the clarinet, and Christian DeFries played the French horn. Congratulations to all of these fine musicians on this outstanding accomplishment. On Friday, I had the wonderful pleasure of seeing the high school musical Titanic. I have to say that this once again was just hitting the ball out of the park for our high school music department. The set design, the singing, the acting, the pit orchestra, the choral, it was just an absolutely wonderful play. They did a wonderful job. It was sold out the first night. I think we had close to 1,500 tickets were sold to it for the weekend performances. Just an outstanding job. Let's give a big round of applause to all of the staff and the students that participated in that campaign. On Thursday of last week, I had the pleasure also of participating as a judge for a science fair that was hosted by Team 75, or Robo Raiders, and the Hillsborough Library. This was for intermediate school students from Aris, some of them were here tonight, as well as the middle school. 26 teams participated in the event that evening, and it was really a focus on STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. The kids did a wonderful job. Let's give a warm round of applause for those children who participated in it. Thank you. And on much more of a somber note, on Thursday of last week, I was informed by the Hillsborough Township Police Department of the passing of one of our students, a high school student. We immediately initiated our crisis team, and we set up grief counseling for students and staff. We had approximately 80 students participate in the grief counseling. I do have to say that, that during this very difficult time, the students and the staff at Hillsborough High School really pulled together, did a phenomenal job. And I know that I speak with the full board when we express our condolences to the family during this difficult time. Mr. Padgett, that's all I have.
Thank you. All right, we're going to move on to, is there any questions from the public regarding the superintendent's report? All right, is there any questions from the board regarding the superintendent's report? All right, thank you. Moving on to approval of the minutes. We're going to start with the February 27th, 2012 special public session. I need a motion.
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
All right, any discussion? All right, seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed and abstentions? All right. The February 27th, 2012 regular public session. I need a motion. And a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Discussion? No? Okay. All right, seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed and abstentions? All right. February 27th, 2012 executive session. I need a motion. And a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
And opposed and abstentions? All right. Moving on to committee reports. There are no committee reports this week, correct?
That's correct.
Right.
I don't, our Operations Committee did not meet.
Right, committees are meeting this week. I do want to mention that during the voting a week ago, we had two items on the agenda, the tentative budget and then the computer financing for the computer, laptop computers. I'm going to call them laptops. And that at the time, Mrs. Haas wanted the opportunity to change her vote to the affirmative for the laptop initiative for the financing, and wasn't given the opportunity. So I wanted the minutes to reflect that. Thank you. Thank you. Moving on to new business. If there's any new business from the public at this time, you can do so. All right, seeing no new business. Any new business from the board? Dr. Rosenberg?
I just have a question. Recently, New Jersey school boards in a newsletter talked about a new law, and I'm not familiar with this, maybe Dr. Schiff, or a proposal, a new funding proposal that was going to start to cut the allocation to schools that were above adequacy. Since Hillsborough is below adequacy in terms of the amount of funding we get, does that have any implications for us down the road, do you think? I mean, I'm curious about what this whole funding situation means for us.
Well, as part of the new funding formula that generated our state aid for this year, districts get a particular allocation that will be reduced over time if they spend above the adequacy calculation. Hillsborough has and continues to spend below the adequacy calculation, will not see those type of reductions that other districts will see.
So the impact on us is far less than those who are spending above adequacy. Okay, thank you.
All right, seeing no other new business, we're going to move on to, do you have new business? Yeah?
Yeah. I had the pleasure of attending the robotics competition this Saturday at Rutgers University, and especially in light of the character counts skit that we saw from Orton Road, I wanted to share something from that competition. The teams get extra points for something called co-opetition. So it's better than, it's cooperation while you're competing. And I wanted to explain how that happens so that you could understand. So there's a seesaw in that contest, and then the robot goes up, is supposed to balance on that seesaw. But if you actually pull in the robot from the opposing team, then both teams get a lot of points. And I actually saw that happening. So the robot tilted the seesaw down so that the competing team could hook into, get up onto that seesaw. And if they could balance, that would be, they would be scoring a lot of points. And as I saw that, I was thinking, if our board could come together, I'm serious, but if our board could come together and see the value on any side so that we could come to what is best for the school district, I mean, just visualize that. We're like balancing robots. But I just had to share that with you, especially because we were talking about character counts. I mean, we're giving this message to the students in our school district, and I'd like our board to do the same.
Hear, hear. Thank you.
Dr. Padgett?
Yes?
Just wondering, how did the Hillsborough robotics team do?
Well, they're going to come and let you know. So I don't want to steal the show here.
All right, very good.
No thunder stealing, please.
Yes, no thunder stealing.
All right, I think we're now ready to, okay. Daria?
Hi. So as you guys probably know, we have weekly student council meetings, and I'm one of the officers as the Board of Ed rep. So every meeting, the students have a chance to tell me what's on their mind about Hillsborough High School and the district in general, stuff I can bring up at the board meetings for hopefully you guys to consider. A few students have been coming up to me, actually more than a few, more than 10 students have been coming up to me wanting me to discuss this with you. With the new spring parking permits, because Hillsborough High School has an increase in student teachers, a lot of the seniors have not been getting parking passes, and because of that, they fill the park and ride, and because they fill the park and ride, the juniors cannot drive. And this has been a problem because many of the students are involved in extracurriculars, such as clubs and sports, which end as late as 7 o'clock on school nights, and the fact that they're crossing those major roads and they have to walk sometimes in the night to their cars for the park and ride, and many seniors who are student council officers or have to be at the school early in the morning, or National Honor Society members where they have to tutor kids after school, do not have the opportunity to park. And I was wondering if it was any possible, I know the funding is extreme, but has the board ever considered extending the Hillsborough High School parking lot, because there's more students each year and we want to increase the amount of student teachers to give more opportunities to college students. So I was wondering, and many other students are wondering, if that's a possibility.
Would you like to address that? I would also suggest that you talk to Principal Binger about the issue. If she doesn't know, then maybe that she needs to know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's no plans at this point to extend the parking lot, and actually the enrollment figures indicate a somewhat of a drop in enrollment over time. This may free up additional parking spaces, but if we have student teachers that are taking up additional parking spaces also, and that continues to increase, we'll have to think about different ways of doing that. But thank you for bringing it up.
Thank you. Any other new business? All right. Now we're ready to move on to public input on the 2012-2013 budget. So those wishing to address the board at this time about the budget may do so. All right. Seeing no comment, we're going to move on to the action agenda. At this time, I'll let the public comment on the action agenda, and the board can comment during the action agenda as they discuss it. Is there any comment from the public regarding the action agenda? All right, seeing none, we're ready to move on to the action agenda. Dr. Schiff?
Thank you, Dr. Padgett. I ask for the board's consideration for the following motions on the board agenda in the area of education: to approve the professional travel and related expenses, to approve the curriculum writing as listed, approve overnight field trips, and approve field trip destinations, and approve the submittal of 2 matching grant application concept papers, approve additional hours for curriculum writing, approve the out-of-district placements and change of out-of-district placements, approve the family math and science sessions, and that's all in that area.
All right, Mrs. Haas? Would you like to make a motion for that?
I'd be happy to make a motion to approve the education agenda today, A1 through 10.
Thank you. I need a second.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Dr. Rosenberg.
I'm looking at the curriculum writing, and there's certainly a lot of it, and of course we expected that, and that's fine. Is this the curriculum writing that is to be instituted this summer? Is that what this is? Or am I confusing this with new curriculum? This is old curriculum writing and there's new. Explain.
This is curriculum writing that was originally in the 12-13 school budget, that was cut from the 12-13 school budget, and now has to be written by June 30th.
Okay, so the curriculum writing, the large amount of curriculum writing that we've been talking about for next year, that's not this.
It was this until I had to cut money from my budget, and now we were able, because this year's curriculum writing that we had to be done last summer for this year came in under, so we were able to make up some of that this year. So in order to use this year's money, we've got to get this curriculum writing done by June 30. There will still be a large amount of curriculum writing for after the budget vote from that time on.
Okay, one area of curriculum writing, which I know we've talked about in committee over the years, is to improve the business and technology curriculum to make it more up to date. I don't see that in this list, so I'm wondering where that will be.
It will be in the next one. Every area of curriculum writing, with the exception of K-12 science and mathematics, will be rewritten.
Very good. Thank you.
Mrs. Lay.
It's just a small point, but when I looked at the the professional travel, some of them you had money set aside for the tuition and mileage and accommodations, and some didn't. So is there because of the amount or distance of travel?
Do you mean registration?
Registration.
Okay. Yeah. So some people don't ask for mileage. Some people, they live so close that they say, no, I'm not going to worry about it. Some people just want to attend, so they don't ask for anything. So it just depends what people put in for, and then, of course, what we're allowed through the accountability regulations.
Okay.
That's really what drives everything on that.
All right. Seeing no further discussion, a roll call, Mr. Mahmood.
Mr. Gillette?
Yes.
Mrs. Haas?
Yes.
Mrs. Haley?
Yes.
Mr. Kintz?
Yes.
Mrs. Lay?
Yes.
Mr. Pulsifer?
Yes.
Mr. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Paget?
Yes.
I recommend for the board's consideration the following motions in the area of human resources. The approval of resolutions creating 2 instructional assistance positions, a half-time instructional assistant, and a half-time special education teaching position. To accept the resignations and retirements as listed. To approve the leave of absences, the revised retirements, the revised leave of absence, the revised long-term substitutes, approve the contracts changes as listed, and approve the appointments of teachers, long-term substitute, after-school tutors, lunch aid, transportation aid, mentors, and substitutes. Also approve the extra period coverage as listed.
All right. Mr. Pulsifer, would you make a motion to that effect?
Yes, on behalf of the Human Resources Committee, I move that the board approve the Human Resources Agenda, items B1 through B9.
Thank you very much. I need a second.
Second.
Thank you. Got to keep this rolling, guys. All right. Any discussion? Dr. Rosenberg.
Under B1, the instructional assistants, what area are they in? What are they, where are they going?
Mr. Rucka.
Special education classrooms.
Okay.
All right. And Mr. Kinst.
I think this was a similar question from last week. The after-school tutors, is there a maximum number of hours that they would be?
Each will be doing a maximum of 3 hours per week.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right. Any further discussion? Seeing none, roll call, Mr. Mahmood.
Mr. Gillette?
Yes.
Mrs. Haas? Yes. Mrs. Haley?
Yes.
Mr. Kintz?
Yes.
Mrs. Lay?
Yes.
Mr. Pulsifer?
Yes.
Mr. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Paget?
Yes.
I ask the board for your consideration for the following agenda items under the area of operations: the approval of the line item transfers and the approval of a resolution regarding the bleacher installation at the middle school.
All right, Mr. Gillette, would you
Yeah, I'm going to do this
do
right.
the honors?
Yeah, I'm going to make sure I get the right letters this time. I make a motion for C1 and C2.
Yes, we collaborated to muddle the water last time.
Yeah, in order, all at once.
C1 and C2.
So moved.
I need a second. Second. Thank you. Any discussion? Mr. Gillette?
Yes, one of the line item transfers, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, was the architect fee, hourly fees for some work that are newish now, architects are doing for us. Some reports and other things that they're preparing for us. And I did have a discussion with Dr. Schiff about that, where I said I was uncomfortable with the hourly. I'm not uncomfortable with the hourly rates. Whatever they charge, that's their profession. We know that going in. But when we appoint other professionals, such as our attorney, at the reorganization meeting, typically, we budget for a yearly amount that they then draw down from. I believe for our attorney, it's been something like $120,000, and we can see every month how much is left, how much they've drawn that month. So I was uncomfortable with, in the 5 figures that we're seeing now, with no upper limit. And my suggestion for the reappointment at our meeting next month would be to have Dr. Schiff and Mr. Mahmood make a suggestion for where a limit should be, so that we know when we have projects for the architects that require the hourly rate, that we know that it's not going to go on all year and it'll be something uncomfortable by the end of the year. And I think Dr. Schiff was in agreement for that. So if you saw that on tonight's agenda, you'll see we're going to change it a little bit for next time around.
I agree.
That seems infinitely reasonable.
Yeah.
All right. Any further discussion?
Could really spit it out.
All right. Seeing none, roll call, Mr. Mahmood.
Mr. Gillette?
Yes.
Mrs. Haas?
Yes.
Mrs. Haley?
Yes.
Mr. Kintz?
Yes.
Mrs. Lay?
Yes.
Mr. Pulsifer?
Yes.
Mr. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Paget?
Yes.
And finally, the informational items of suspensions, the report on fire and crisis drills, as well as enrollments are available for board review.
Thank you very much. That concludes our action agenda. The last item before adjournment is old business. We can do old business from the public first. I'll read those wishing to address the board can do so at this time. We may not address it now, but refer it to committee or to the administration, or we may address it now also. Name and address, please.
Good evening, Maria DeLucia, 122 South Triangle Road. Last week when I was here and we were discussing the budget, we requested that someone requested that there be a more thorough explanation of the budget. And when we look, what was online is really the same presentation that was given last week. So we haven't really been presented with changes as far as programs that are being cut or anything that's being cut or positions. And we were just wondering if you were still planning on doing that.
Sir, I am, and I will. The board, as you recall, had some feedback for the operations committee, and this week all of the committees are meeting, and coming out of committee, we'll have some more definitive recommendations for final budget consideration at this point. But to answer you directly, we are not cutting any staff within this budget, and we're not cutting any program within this budget. This is a budget that is actually expanding the positions, lowering class sizes at the middle and at the high school level. We're going to be presenting some data to the board that we'll be happy to share public on the on how we were able to deal with some class size issues at the elementary level this year, and we can show that we've lowered class sizes by investing this year in elementary, next year in middle school, and at the high school. The question is by how much, and that's really where the board's going to continue to have discussions about it.
My other question is regarding improvements to the buildings. I was wondering if you could address any specific improvements that you're planning.
Yeah, we'll have a full list by building of all of the items coming out of our committee work for this week. So as we present the final budget for the board's consideration, the board as well as the public will have that detail.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
Thank you.
Good evening, Kelly Villano, 87 Meadowbrook. My question is, this year, a lot of positions were created because of the general ed funds money. So I just would like to know if we saw a need for those positions this year, going forward for next year, will those positions be part of the new budget?
And the federal funds that you're referring to are the Ed Job funds, and they were approximately $900,000 worth of non-reoccurring revenue. When the board considered those positions, they considered them for 1 year. As part of the tentative budget, we're looking at keeping, we have 3 tech trainers currently in the district. We're looking at keeping 2 of them into next year's budget. And we funded 4 class size reduction positions at the elementary level, which will continue in next year's budget, so class sizes won't rise. So as a result of using this non-reoccurring revenue this year, we will maintain 6 positions coming out of that moving forward.
Okay.
And I just want to double check with Mr. Rocco. Did I do my count correctly on that? Okay. Yes.
Okay, because it looked like, as I look through the agendas, that many positions were created for ASI, for basic skills instruction, and I think that we also made some of those positions that were originally response to intervention, they were switched over to ASI. So I guess my question is, response to intervention, is that going away? I mean, I know that it's not. I know the answer is that it's not going away. But if these kids have a need this year, and we hired so many teachers from the Gen Ed funds money for students who needed the services, next year they're not going to need those services?
These were particular programs, and I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Antunes for some more specifics on it. But the RTI teachers that were originally put in, we did not hire. We were less than impressed with the interview process that we went through. And as an alternative, we looked at hiring ASI teachers, but only for the last third of the school year. So those, again, are grant-funded, non-reoccurring monies within the budget. But I can turn it over to Dr. Antunes for some more detail on that.
Sure, and Mr. Rocco could give the details on the process, but Dr. Schiff is correct. We interviewed people for the RTI position, and there was just barely anybody even knew what RTI was. I think Scott could concur with that. As far as the RTI initiative, we are still working on that. We have an RTI steering committee within the district myself working with Mrs. Johnston and special services and some administrators, and then we're going to be calling teachers into it as well. So that's continuing. So we've got tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 models that we're looking at, and we will be moving forward with that. So the teachers that was never conditional upon the teachers or not. It's something we have to do anyway. So we just thought that would be a really good use of the funds until we started looking for the teachers, and I'll let Mr. Rocco discuss that part of it.
Yeah, as you know, when we did the Committee for Ed Jobs, we came up with the concept of having 3 RTI positions within the district. We went through several rounds. We actually went through a lot of paper screening, and then we went through several rounds of interviews. Could not find candidates that met what we were expecting for them to do in those positions. Therefore, then we had to reevaluate what we wanted to do with those monies and figure out what would be the best way to use those funds during the remainder of the school year, because if we don't use them by the end of August, we lose that money. And what we did is we decided that ASI would be a good use of those funds for the remainder of the school year. We will see at the end of the year how that rolls out, but basically at this point, we could not fund them that way. We will assess as we go along the need for additional staffing, but this is going to supplement what's already in existence in the classrooms.
Okay. I absolutely understand how that works. I guess my question still is, if I understand that we didn't have anybody to fill the RTI position, so our solution for that was to have ASI positions. And that is from money that has to be used by August. I understand all that. But when we're looking at a budget for next year, those kids who are requiring the services this year, if we don't have an RTI teacher because we can't find those people, will the ASI positions still be included? Like, will those be considered?
I think we'd certainly consider them, but at this point, they're not in. So
Okay.
let me be very specific about what is in. At the district level, we're going to be maintaining the 2 tech trainers that I spoke about before. We also have 2 technicians that are in the budget in order to support the technology. We have a social studies teacher, or a targeted class size reduction teacher, 2 of them at the high school. Targeted class size reduction at the middle school. There's actually 4 part-time teachers, 4 half-time teachers, 1 for the art, 1 for the family and consumer science, 1 for the IT, and 1 for the music. 3 elementary Spanish teachers, an LLD, a self-contained special education teacher at Aris, as well as another full-time special education teacher also at Aris. 3 Chinese teachers of Chinese at the elementary level. A full-time special education teacher at the elementary level, part-time guidance, part-time school nurse, and another self-contained special education teacher at the high school, for a total of 19 full-time equivalent positions. So that's where we are. Now that's a good amount of teachers, but 2 years ago we were reduced by 66 teachers and staff members. So we are reconstituting about half of that over a 2-year period of time. Those are the facts. That's
Okay.
where we are currently.
Thank you. My second question is, has consideration been given to increasing the substitute pay? Only because I know that there was talk of going from $80 to $85 or $86 per day, and surrounding districts pay, I don't want to quote it, but I think it's over $100 a day. And I'm just going to speak from my experience here at Aris. We definitely have a substitute shortage. And then we're scrambling to get teachers to cover those classes. So I really hope that the board considers being competitive with neighboring districts as far as substitute pay is concerned, because I do think that we lose a lot of substitutes to other districts that are paying way more than we are at this point.
Mr. Rocco?
We did an analysis, and basically districts are doing a couple of different things. They're doing sliding scales, so if you work so much, you get paid more as you go along, and the average is anywhere between $85 and $100, depending on the district. I ran the numbers after the last board meeting we had, and it looks like right now it'd be about $87 a day, which is a $7 a day increase for the substitutes in our district.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any?
Hello, Kitty Ward, writing teacher, Hillsborough Elementary School. My husband told me to move this so he can see my face. I just wanted further clarification on the world language. Now, how is that going to work? Because 2 years ago when we had world language, we had 6 elementary schools and 3 teachers that went between the 2. Now it sounds like we're going to have 6 full-time teachers. So how is that? How is it going to be a full special, or?
Actually, we're working on that now with members of the elementary principals and teachers. We are looking to put it as part of a special so that there is dedicated time to both Spanish and Chinese. The way we're looking at it now is we're going to have 3 Spanish teachers and 3 elementary school one in
Right.
each elementary and then 3 Chinese for half of the year. And then they'll switch. So that the teachers don't have to travel, there's a full half year in one school, and then they'll just do a switch. That's what we're looking at this point.
Okay, okay. And then just to further clarify what Kelly was talking about, the positions that we have this year for ASI are reducing or helping, I guess, the class sizes at the elementary level, but they are not budgeted for next year. So we really can't say that we're giving relief to the elementary level. Can we really say that at this point? To the class size, to the existing class sizes?
Not with the addition.
Or did I miss something in the calculations?
Yeah,
I may
no,
have.
The way we calculate the class size is the amount of students per classroom. So in terms of how many kids are in an elementary school classroom, when we compare the enrollment figures from last year to this year, we see a reduction of, on average, at the elementary level in total, of 1.7 students per class throughout the entire elementary school. When we look at individual elementary schools, every single one of the 6 has shown a reduction from last year to this year. Our enrollment projections are just that for next year. We don't know exactly what it's going to be. We are actually looking at a slight dip, I believe, but we're not looking at cutting any classroom sections at the elementary level. There'll be some movements, but in aggregate, we're not going to make a reduction there. So we anticipate the class sizes will stay about the same next year as what they would be this year, maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit more, but nothing significant there. The way that we have done it this year, different than what we've done it in past years. The way that we've done it in past years is that once you get to 25 students in a particular class, then if the next child registers, they have to go to a distance school. Right. So they're leaving their home school, they're leaving the friends that they play with, and they're sent to another elementary school. We've changed that process in that once we get all of the enrollments by August 1, we will open up additional sections up until August 1. And what that had the effect of doing is reducing class size. Mm-hmm. Now, you're not going to see that reduction for next year because that was the change for this year. But that procedural implication, that change in how we do it, led to decreases in class sizes on average in every elementary school in the district, which is a good thing.
So it's on average, though. So what I may be seeing at an individual school may be different than at another school, but we look at the aggregate or the average.
Well, in the average in the school, everything went down. So some may have been the same, and others went down further. There may have actually been an increase in one particular grade, but in aggregate, it all went down. And you'll see that. You'll see some class sizes just depending upon how many kids move in during that particular year, that it could come up a little bit. But overall, our district has lower class sizes at the elementary school this year than it had last year. And now we have to begin focusing at the high school and at the middle school.
Sure. And I know I keep hitting this over the head, but the other concern that I have, just as we're speaking to class sizes at the elementary level, is I know we are doing a major curriculum rewrite, and that, you know, it's not going to be rolled out overnight, I hope, because it won't work, but it's going to be a tremendous shift, I believe, in thinking, and we're asking elementary teachers to be experts in every subject matter area. And not only are we asking them to be experts at it, we're asking them to be able to work with the students who are not, you know, who are below level. We're asking them to work with students who are in the middle, and we're asking them to work with the students that need enrichment. And we're asking them to be experts not only within that level, but within that subject, but within each of those levels. And we're asking them to do it on a dime, you know, meaning that, okay, this kid is here, I need to do this. And it's hard to do that for a lot of subjects, and it's hard when you have 22, 23, 24, 6-year-olds or 7-year-olds or 8-year-olds in your classroom. So that's all. I just, you know, I feel like a broken record, but I feel very strongly that if we lower the class size even further in our elementary school, we will see a cost savings because the bigger they are, the more costly they are to remediate. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other old business? All right, seeing none, we're going to move on to the board. Any old business from the board? Mrs. Haas would like to start.
I'd just like to mention that tomorrow night, the Community Partnership Network is meeting here at 7 o'clock, and the subject will be the budget. So if anybody has participated in the past and would like to continue their participation, or if anybody wants to come for the first time tomorrow night, here, 7 o'clock, be there or be square. And my other question is, we had said that we were going to put up some more budget information on the website.
Yeah.
And I know I've gotten requests from a couple of people about year-over-year information. Are we planning to put that up?
Yeah, absolutely. And we're also, I believe we have our budget button input on the website too. So, yeah, so that I believe has been on for a couple of days. And we do encourage the public to come on in, and if you're not able to come to a board meeting or would like to express your opinion through the internet, there's a means to do so and gather that information. I think after the committees meet, we'll be providing some year-to-year comparisons in each of the major areas to address some of the questions that the public has, as well as the board.
I'm going to ask.
Mr. Gillette.
No, me?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, just to follow up with Mrs. Haas, so I know public members of the public have also asked me for more specific information, like we've discussed here, nothing that we haven't discussed, but some place where they can see all the things that you mentioned tonight, Dr. Schiff, in one place. I know our newspaper has done a good job, and our online newspaper's done a good job, but how about like a press release or something from us? Is it premature because we haven't voted on the final budget? Are there some things that we can say that, that 6 world language teachers, laptop for every teacher? Can we say some of the things? I mean, what can we say for sure that people could go to the website or somewhere and see something?
Well, I think we can say for sure where we are today, which may not be where we are in a week and a half, but I think after we have our meetings this week, we'll have some, at least some greater understanding about what the vote will be on the 26th, or at least what will be presented to the board on the 26th. But no, I think the public needs to have some more clarity on the positions as I shared with tonight, as well as the maintenance items and those type of things. We can put it up on the internet for anyone to take a look at. We can certainly provide a press release on where we are with the tentative budget. Ms. Bergman and I can work on that, and we can get it out. Absolutely.
Sounds good.
Thank you. Mrs. Lay?
Yeah. I really appreciated that we had the strategic plan in order to develop the budget, and also as a guiding document for us. And so I'm asking that in the next week and a half, when all the committees meet, that we look back to those values as the committees firm up what we want to include in the budget. And I also think that we were looking at unbudgeted priorities as things to add to our budget. And if we think of additional needs for the school district, I don't mind looking at what was already budgeted to look at and see if maybe some things are a higher priority. There is a level of trust that board members have to administration as to what your advice and guidance is. But at the same time, there's things that were in the planned budget that if we are going to look at staffing requirements or something that we find a priority because we've learned more from the public or more from administration, that I think we could even go into the planned budget and take another look at it rather than just add. So I would like to have us consider that. And also, when we finalize the budget and we look at these values, so for example, the day-to-day stressors for teachers, like they can't get substitutes, I don't think increasing $5 or $6 will get us anywhere. I don't think that's going to get people to change their minds about substituting in Hillsborough. So if we're going to make any changes in the budget, let's make it effective. Let's make it so that something happens. And that goes for, let's say, you know, we didn't really think about the ASI. I mean, not the administration, but I wasn't thinking of the impact in this manner, and it's something that we should be discussing in committee. So,
thank you. All right, seeing no more old business, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed and abstentions? Thank you.
I just realized I missed my last statement.